Hello, my name is Chris Wilson with School Security Solutions, or as we like to call it, S3. Before we get started in this video, I want to preface, we are not a security company. We do not sell security systems. We do not install security systems, and we're surely not going to try to sell you a security system. I'm first and foremost a parent. I have two wonderful little girls. They're at the elementary age right now. And with everything that's been going on in society, and particularly what happened in the tragic event in Newtown, Connecticut, I had at least a week of unsleepless nights. I mean, it was very difficult for me because my children were getting exposed to this and they were wondering what's going on. The schools are trying to be proactive. And at the end of the day, I was concerned about every day I would put my child on the bus. Were they going to come back after school? Was something going to happen in their particular school? Was I going to get a phone call? So I looked at everything that was going on in the news and all the issues they were talking about and all the solutions. And to be honest with you, I just wasn't satisfied with a lot of the dialogue that was going on. I talked to a lot of parents about my thoughts. I'm also a former high school teacher and athletic coach. So I talked to a lot of my peers and their situations because they're still teaching. And I know that's a major concern even for their safety. So, I started to think, what can we do as schools, as school districts, as parents and communities right now and be proactive that we can really address what I feel, and I think you are actually going to agree, the two main issues that we're really talking about here to address school security. And then we're also going to talk about two solutions. Because a lot of the issues and solutions that I was watching on TV and I currently watch, I really don't think that they're addressing the real needs of what we need to do in school security. So what we'll do in this video is let's talk about the issues, the solutions, and at the end of this video, we are going to give you, whether you're a school district, or an outside organization that wants to be proactive, a way that you can right now go ahead and take care of your security solutions and fund it 100%. So let's first talk about these issues. Issue number one is funding. Would you agree at this point we need some kind of security systems in these schools? Some schools have cameras, some schools do have security guards, but wouldn't you agree we need some really high-tech, kick-butt security systems in there, and we need some really good trained guards, or we need a combination of both. Okay, I think we all probably agree at that point, but do we also agree that the main issue is funding? Who's going to fund these systems? Okay, who is it? Is it going to be the government? Is it going to be the state government? Is it going to be the community? Who is going to be responsible? And issue number two is the self-image of these students. Now, I know there's people watching this saying, well, what does the students have to do with school security? Wouldn't you agree that if we can make our students better individuals, better citizens, have a higher level of self-esteem, morals, values, ethics, integrity, if we produce better students, and I'm not talking about better academically in math, science, and English, I'm talking about better equipped students that can handle a better self-image of who they think they are and their self-confidence. If we can do that as a community, if we can have some kind of program, then wouldn't our schools be safer? Wouldn't they be able to recognize other students that are in need? Because at the end of the day, do we think the current structure of the formal education system is actually addressing building our kids' self-esteem up? And we're going to get to that in a couple minutes. But first, let's just focus on one issue. Let's focus on the funding issue. We'll get to that solution. Then we'll focus on issue number two of the self-image. So within the funding, how are we going to fund this? Okay, I've been watching a lot on TV. A lot of it's been grants. Grants from an aid from the government, and then you have the local government, the state government. They're trying to put programs together. But at the end of the day, I want you to think about this. What happens if these schools accept these grants and then they hire security guards and they get these systems in there that they have maintenance every single month. They have salaries they have to pay every single month. What happens when that grant money gets cut? What happens if it just dries up? What happens if the politicians, they go in office, out of office? What happens if different agendas want to be pushed? Then what happens to the local schools that have these systems, that have these programs in place? Who ends up funding these programs? Do we honestly think that we can go back to the local community and say, look, we need to raise your taxes when we have the economy that's going on right now? We have health care that's going absolutely ballistic. We have people within the community that don't even have children in school that are retired, living on fixed budgets, and we're going to go to them and ask them we need to raise your taxes? A lot of them are already paying high taxes as it is. So is that a solution? Finally, what if we could come up with a way where we could self-fund the school district, or an outside community or an outside organization within the community can say, look, we want to get involved in the program and we want to self-fund the security solutions 100%. We don't want to rely on government. We don't want to rely on raising taxes. We have a program and we have a solution that we can implement right now. Would that interest you? Issue number 2, let's talk about self-image. In Dr. Walter Staples' book, it's a best-selling book, Think Like a Winner, he states in there, and this is all statistics, you can go on Google and you can look this up, 80% of the population has a poor self-image about themselves. That means when they look at themselves, they get a negative connotation, they don't have a lot of belief in what they can do, their confidence isn't great, and that affects the type of person, the type of quality of person that you have. And when you look at kids in high school, I mean, just look at them. Like, there's bullying, there's a lot of self-esteem issues. So with that being said, what is the formal education system doing about this? Because at the end of the day, wouldn't you agree, we could put in the best security solution as far as a physical security system, guards in place, but if our kids still have low self-esteem about themselves, 80% of the population, who is going to change that? As a former educator, I know this about schools. They work off a curriculum. They teach math, English, science, and some other classes, but it's all built off a curriculum. Go ask your administration right now, what programs do they have in place to make the self-image better of our students? Do we actually think a handful of guidance counselors in a school of 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 kids are actually going to be able to change 80% of that population and address all their issues? I mean, a handful? Do we honestly think that? They don't even have programs. Do you want to know why they don't have programs? Because they teach off a curriculum. And that is not the state curriculum. They're not the state guidelines. So you know what? At the end of the day, we can't really teach a program like that to our students. So what if we could come up with a self-improvement curriculum that the students can take part in? And this is what can happen. We can take $1 and we can make it go 2 ways. That $1, we can have fund a self-improvement program for the children, and then it pays 100%. It'll create the funds 100% for the funding of the school. And we're talking about, self-funding. We're talking about a program that can generate $120,000 a year, $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year or more. If this has piqued your interest at this point, we have a solution right now that you and your community can implement right now. And within, I'm telling you, 90 to 120 days, you can have substantial funds coming in already, so you can start to fund and put these programs in. You can start to help your students out as of right now. All you need to do at this point is put your information in below, and you're going to have access to a series of a handful of videos and a handful of ebook documents that you can download and print out, you can read through. We want to give this information to you in bits and pieces so you truly understand it. And at the end of the process, you can be a group that can just go out there and say, you know what, we know what the issues are, we're going to be proactive, we can do this ourselves, we don't have to rely on anyone else. Parents can take full responsibility, the community can take responsibility, administration or any outside organization without, a lot of bureaucracy said, look, we're a booster club, we're an athletic booster club, we do fundraising anyway, you know what, we want to be part of a program and yet we're going to fund it for you. We're going to be the knight in shining armor. We're going to do that. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. My name is Chris Wilson with the S3 program. Have a great day.